Are we talking about the same Newsweek? Newsweek is like hard-hitting journalism.
It popped up because Seth Lugo was mentioned.
Sports Daily, mornings on 97.5 and 1240 KFH. Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita. KNSS HD2 Clearwater, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey, Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily, coming up next exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
I'm Taylor Bishotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Jets quarterback Justin Fields suffered a dislocated toe on his right foot at practice Thursday. Fields is listed as day-to-day and is expected to miss some significant time, according to the team. Head coach Aaron Glenn expressed his confidence in backup Tyrod Taylor, saying there's no drop-off in play calling from Fields to Taylor. Meantime, Aaron Rodgers making his long-awaited Steelers training camp debut in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Rodgers saying that any given year, there are usually 6 to 8 teams capable of winning the Super Bowl, maybe 10 to 12 some seasons, and I believe the Steelers are one of them. Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. said he's feeling more confident heading into year 2 and confident in his team, saying, "We should be the best in the league with the guys we've got around us. We should be unstoppable. That's our goal. We want to be number 1 in all categories." This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives. On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, hey there, everybody. Good morning. How are you? It is Sports Daily, and we are glad to be with you here on this Friday morning, getting you ready for the weekend, wrapping up the work week, enjoying the rain out there, cool things off maybe a little bit today. Happy to be here with you. We got a big show for you. Certainly big news when it comes to Kansas Jayhawk basketball as Bill Self has a medical situation. Again, it sounds like everything's okay, but we'll dig into exactly what the school is saying last night and what it means for the future. The Royals begin a big homestand this weekend, a divisional homestand that could have more implications than perhaps we thought about a week and a half ago. We will check back in on the golf tournament featuring local golfers. We'll check in on Chiefs training camp. It's all coming for you today, and it's all what's on tap, which is brought to you by Wichita Brewing Company, WBC Delano's debut brew, Hatfield's Mama, German Kolsch, with a clean, crisp character that's smooth and refreshing. Make history with Hatfield's Mama, Wichita Brewing Company, Delano's debut brew, available at all 3 WBC brew pubs. Happy to be with you here this morning. Happy to be with you on the air here on KFH 97.5 1240. Happy to be with you on our video streams on 12 News Connected, Facebook, YouTube, X, on the apps, all the different ways you're here. We're glad you're here with us. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. I hope that you said your prayers and ate your vitamins this morning.
Yeah, the Hulkster. It's a good place to start. We lose Ozzy and the Hulkster in the same week. That's a big one. And you know, these things come in threes. I guess Malcolm Jamal Warner, if you watch the Cosbys, or Malcolm and Eddie also lost, but my goodness. You know, Hulk Hogan was interesting, Tommy. He was as fun a character for people our age as there ever was. He was, regardless of what anybody wants to say, He was the biggest deal in wrestling, and he is the reason wrestling is what it is today, in my opinion. You can love him or hate him as a character or anything else, but without what he did and without what his character did in that time frame, I don't know that it ever would get as big as it is now. It was larger than life. Hulkamania was, I mean, it was everywhere. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was my 5th birthday party was a Hulk Hogan themed party. And I had all the action figures and I had the video games. And I know in the background of your shot, you've got your Macho Man plush. I don't even know what they're called,
They were
buddy
like
or whatever it
wrestling
is.
buddies or something.
Buddy. So I've got the Macho Man one and I've got a Hulk Hogan one. It was, he was a big deal. He was larger than life. He was like Superman. I mean, it was like a superhero type thing for us when we were kids. And yes, I mean, I know later in life had controversies. The legacy's a little bit complicated for him. But at the same time, from a nostalgic point of view, going back to when you and I were kids, I mean, he was the man.
He was the man. His character was just about perfect for what it was. You know, what's funny for me is it wasn't that version of Hulk Hogan that was the big impact for me. Like we were young enough that, I mean, listen, everybody loved Hulk Hogan, our age. But it was the second version, sort of, the NWO thing. That was what I was super into. That's what got me that was my peak. So, and that was kind of his second time around, almost, that turning into a bad guy. I thought that was just the coolest thing ever. And so he had a couple of generations of it. It sounds like he had a very complicated life away from the ring with his family. But that's a tough industry. It's a tough business, and there's a lot there. And he contributed to the greatness that there is today in it. I mean, you just don't have the same popularity without that character. There's just no chance.
And there are not a whole lot of legends that are left. I mean, obviously Macho Man is gone, Roddy Piper's gone, Hulk Hogan is now gone. I mean, really, it's shocking to me. If you watched the was it the 30 for 30 on Ric Flair? Mm-hmm. And knowing his life and his lifestyle and everything, how he has outlived all of those guys now
is pretty crazy.
That's pretty wild to me.
And he almost died. He was very close, and he told a story yesterday about how much Hulk Hogan helped him in that situation and some tough situations. But yeah, look, it's an odd fraternity. It is the ultra competitive and all of those things, but at the end of the day, I think they're all sort of in it together. Terry Funk, my idol.
He was also one of the first crossover stars in that world. I mean, I know Roddy Piper was in a couple of movies.
Yeah, I think it went Funk, Piper, Hogan. In the movie, in the Hollywood crossover. But those three guys kind of in that same era really pioneered that, and now that's a thing. And a good thing too. It turns out these guys are good actors.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a thing without those guys doing it. Like The Rock, he had crossover success due in large part to the guys that paved the way for him. And you've got John Cena now in movies and, all of that. A lot of that, I mean, you have to give credit to Hulk Hogan. Now, were his movies any good? I mean, obviously,
he was in
Rocky 3, but
be careful. I don't need any trash talk on Mr. Nanny. It's a great film.
Thunder Lips is here.
Yeah,
in the flesh, baby.
Oh my God.
The ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
For sure. I mean, come on, defines a legacy right there.
Yeah, it's I
don't Mr. like Nanny, by the way. You're a Mr. Nanny guy?
Oh yeah, I mean, I seem to recall being a Mr. Nanny guy when I was like 6. Yeah.
My favorite Hulk Hogan movie, and it's I don't think it's one that most people would have up on their list. Do you remember Suburban Commando? Did you ever see that one?
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd was in that one, and that one's probably my favorite of all of them.
All right, let me just look here, make sure we're not forgetting a movie. He's got Suburban Commando, which was good.
Santa with muscles.
No holds barred.
No holds barred.
No holds barred.
Yeah. Santa with muscles.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Somebody else was telling me about that one yesterday. Let's just go way back here. He's been in a lot of stuff, believe it or not. The problem is it's putting him in all these
Three Ninjas. Remember Three Ninjas? That was a good one.
He wasn't in Three Ninjas.
Yeah, he was. He was in
What?
Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain in 1998.
In the original Three Ninjas?
He was in the sequel.
Oh, I don't know that I saw the sequel. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. Three Ninjas is one of my. I actually watched that movie with my kids. It was great. Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at. Yeah, look, that's our childhood. Like, he defined our childhood.
It was actually, by the way, the fourth installment in the Three Ninjas franchise.
Okay. Yeah. The 12 Ninjas. Yeah, he defined our generation. The over the top, neon, patriotic. I loved that. I loved it. That part of it. That time, that era was fantastic. And he was one of the banner carriers for it. So Hulk Hogan, gone from us in the same week as Ozzy. That's two cultural icons gone in a week. Pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff. I actually saw him, ran into him at a hotel, and I'd forgot about this until a college buddy recapped that story last night. We were in Hollywood and like ran into him, and we're just doing it was pretty close to the peak of his reality show too. So we were like trying to just. And I think my buddy like gave him a tap on, like a slap on the shoulder, and got a "Hey brother," and like made his life.
Nice.
It's just like
What you gonna do, brother?
All right. We'll come back. Let's get to what happened with Bill Self, or what's happening with Bill Self when we return. We get the news last night late. If you missed it, we'll tell you about it next on Sports Day.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now!
831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Concert series back in Wichita, NAFSCAR Park tonight. Series returns with the astronauts live on stage. Gates open at 6:30. Show starts at 8. You can enjoy free live music, food trucks, Friday night fun all summer long. Find the full schedule at kfhradio.com. Tommy, welcome back in. Happy it's Friday. It's a Friday.
Yeah. So first off, a big thanks to Prairie Fire Coffee, keeping us fueled up and caffeinated today. So you ever had like a out of body experience, like something happens around you and you're like, is this reality? What's going on? I'm out in the break room and I'm making some Prairie Fire coffee just a moment ago. And we've got our radio in the break room. Usually we rotate one of the stations in our Odyssey family. And all of a sudden, as I'm making coffee, I'm hearing Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. And I have a weird out of body, like, what is happening right now? It just didn't feel real. And I'm like, am I actually hearing this? And turns out I didn't even realize this. Our buddy over on KUYN, Dave Wilson, it's Christmas in July. Today's July 25th. And so over on 103.7 KUYN, he's playing Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. But in that moment, I'm making coffee. I'm still a little bit tired. Like, is that like, what is happening right now? And I couldn't connect the dots.
How do you feel about that song? We've probably talked about it.
I'm good with it one time a year, and today was the one time a year.
I guess I can give it one time a year. Man, I just don't think that song is as awesome as a lot of people do. It's not even in my
Does anybody really
50.
think the song is awesome, though? I don't think
yes,
really
absolutely.
like it's
Usually
awesome
when I
song.
bring this up, people are like, what are you talking about? You're insane. How do you hate that so much? And I'm like, guys, I just don't think the songs are. I'm just not a big Mariah Carey fan anyway. Like, I couldn't even tell you what my favorite Mariah Carey song is. Never been my cup of tea. It's
a little jarring when you just completely off guard hear All I Want for Christmas Is You in July, and you can't figure out why you're hearing it. And then, come to find out that they're celebrating Christmas in July over on KUYN.
Well, we do appreciate Prairie Fire Coffee in the trip over there to grab a cup. And yeah, that's pretty funny. It is Christmas in July. We used to do a huge promo at stores for Christmas in July. We don't do that now. We do a variety of other things. But I hear that, and that gives me a little shell shock. It's like, oh, wait, what? No.
What's going on? No.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't say that.
The little
all right.
girl,
Speaking of, what's
Oh,
that,
go ahead,
Max?
Max. Go
the
ahead.
little girl in Love Actually did a better version of that than Mariah Carey.
You know, Love Actually is actually a pretty good movie.
Don't start this either.
It's not a bad movie.
Oh,
Don't start this either, Bruce. Bruce used to get on his soapbox about Love Actually being just this amazing movie, and like there weren't very many opportunities where you needed to like check a man card. I feel like that's one of them.
I mean, I don't think it's a cinematic masterpiece, but it's okay. Like I'll watch it once a year around Christmas. It's okay.
You're really gonna watch it once a year? Isn't that movie like?
I mean, my wife watches it about 10 times.
That movie is
a year,
2 hours and 15 minutes long. Of a rom-com. Isn't that Hugh Grant? You want 2 hours and 15 minutes of Hugh Grant?
Liam Neeson's in it too. I'll
This
take
is
2
way
hours of
before
Liam
taking
Neeson.
Liam Neeson, though. This isn't cool Liam Neeson yet.
Hans Gruber.
Come on, Liam Neeson is always cool.
2 hours and 15 minutes of a. Is that even? Would you even call it a rom-com?
By the way, did you see that? Speaking of Liam Neeson, that he's going to be in the reboot of The Naked Gun.
Can't wait.
I think that'll be pretty cool.
I'm very interested. That's a movie. So the one clip I've seen of it, it looks like it's going to be different, and I think that's a very good thing. You cannot do that movie without Leslie Nielsen. It wouldn't work. I don't think.
We'll see how. I mean, Liam Neeson will have to play it differently than Leslie.
That's
Nielsen,
what I'm saying.
obviously.
And I think in that
kind of actor.
circumstance, it could be awesome, and I'm excited for it. As long as they don't try to make him be like the guy who can do the thing that Nielsen, like nobody else can do that. Like that's his thing. Like you can't. It'd be like trying to recast Ace Ventura, right? Like it just wouldn't work. Even if it was this really brilliant act, like it would never work. So. I'm excited to see that. The one clip I did see looked pretty good.
I saw the trailer when we went to see Spinal Tap on the big screen. It's really funny. The trailer, anyway.
Speaking of movies, Happy Gilmore 2 drops today. Today's the day that the new Happy Gilmore movie's out.
Oh man, I don't have any expectations. I'm glad they're trying it. I want it to be awesome. I love Adam Sandler so much, and I think, like again, we're talking about our generation. Like you couldn't replicate it. It couldn't be better. It wouldn't work today. I get it all, but boy, did it work then. And that is a great, great movie. And I hope I think there's very little chance it's just like objectively bad. So I'm just hoping it's okay.
It will be. It should be filled with just nostalgia. Like we talked about nostalgia in the last segment with Hogan. Like I feel like there's going to be so many callbacks and cameos, and you're like, oh, there's that guy, and there's that guy, and there's that guy. Will it be again cinematic masterpiece? No. I mean, like let's be real about that.
And I think the original Happy Gilmore is cinematic masterpiece. By the way,
it should be fun. It should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. It's like sometimes I think it gets overthought and then it's corrected. Like the original Dumb and Dumber, where it was recast, that second one was not worth anything. And then when they brought the original cast back, it wasn't as good, but it was still better, right? The Hangover. They tried the second one. No, didn't work. They tried to make it too different. Then the third one felt more like the first one. And you're like, okay, that's okay. Like that's good. But yeah, we got to approach with caution, but who's not excited to see Shooter McGavin commercials? And like, it's just like, it's so good. Are you bigger Billy Madison or bigger Happy Gilmore fan?
Bigger Happy Gilmore fan. But I do appreciate both of them. Billy Madison has moments that are phenomenal.
I think I agree.
Probably Happy Gilmore.
I think I agree. Those are the two Sandler movies for me. He did so many great ones. Those are the two for me. I think I agree with that and would take Happy Gilmore. I think. Boy, that's a tough question. There were so many great, and all the Farley movies of that time, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep. Man, that generation. We were the best. No offense, Max, but we had it best.
The thing about both of those movies, they're basically the same movie. And so there are moments that I'm like, oh yeah, I love that in Billy Madison. And then I think about it, I'm like, actually, that was Happy Gilmore. I get them mixed up.
I do the same thing with Tommy Boy and Black Sheep. But hey, I know what I like, and I like what I like.
Do you
So I like
consider
it.
Big Daddy a rom-com?
Big Daddy.
I mean, you could
there's
consider
elements
Happy
in that.
Gilmore a rom-com or Billy Madison a rom. There's always a love interest. So I don't think so. No, I consider Love Actually a rom-com. And I'm gonna need to store it away that Tommy likes to watch that 2-hour and 15-minute movie once a year.
It's not a bad movie. Like,
I don't watch any movie once a year anymore. I might watch like 3 movies a year. That damn sure is not going to be one of them. We're talking about holiday movies. How do you fit in time for Home Alone and Home Alone 2?
I watched that too. Christmas Vacation. I'll watch that too. Every year.
Watch more movies than I do.
Die Hard. It's a Wonderful Life. I'll try to watch once a year.
I don't watch that one. I don't watch that. I watch A Christmas Story though.
I'll watch that one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for Christmas in July over on KYN to take us down a strange path. But hey, we get here. It's Friday in July. Why not? Tommy, we got this news last night. Bill Self hospitalized, had some stents put in, which is frightening. Absolutely terrifying, I'm sure, for Bill Self and his family. But it's done, and he should have a full recovery. My dad has had stents. It's kind of the same timeline of Bill Self. My dad had a heart attack, and then a couple of years later, he had some stents put in, and then he was good for 20 or 25 years before recently had another open heart just in the last few months. But I think that, as there is like tremendous shock value in that for everyone, I don't think it's terribly uncommon, and I'm hopeful for him that now gets him to where he needs to be with his heart and the issues with his heart. Bill Self's only 62 years old. I see a lot of chatter, and we had the conversation last night. Is it time to walk away? Is it time to do this, that, or the other? And I'm always like, guys, he's only 62. Like, he's not old. And so I would imagine that this will impact his time or whatever in the short term, and probably whatever his long-term plan is. I don't know that this is going to affect it too much. And it's his decision to make, and I am totally like whatever with whichever way he decides to go with it. I just don't want to go, he should do X, Y, or Z. He's only 62 years old.
I agree with you that he's earned the right to do whatever he wants to do, and I think Kansas will support him in that, regardless of what decision he makes and whichever way he goes. He absolutely has earned that right. Where I do disagree with you is I do think that it does impact his longevity as the coach at Kansas. I thought that back when he was having the heart issues a couple of years ago and he had to sit out the NCAA tournament and all of that. I thought, okay, well, that's really going to shorten the timeline of him being the head coach at the University of Kansas. You say he's only 62, and that's correct, but he's not an accountant at 62. He's a head basketball coach at one of the most premier universities in the country at 62. It's a high level of stress. And in today's landscape with NIL and recruiting and all these different things, it is an incredibly stressful job. And, all you have to do is watch him on the sideline. And, I always know when Bill Self is getting pretty heated, he turns red, and he looks like he's about to burst, and it's a high stress job. And I wouldn't blame him or fault him one bit if he was like, you know what? I think I've had my fill of this.
I wouldn't blame him or fault him at all. I just would understand if he doesn't want to yet. And I also think there is no, he is still doing it at an insanely high level. And I know people will say, well, last 2 years have been their worst in his era. That's because he had the same group and they just weren't working. He's got the number one player.
He wasn't feeling 100% for a lot of the last couple of years. I don't know if you caught this, but just in the last week, he did an interview with Seth Davis. I believe it was Seth Davis, or it might have been Andy Katz. He sat down with Andy Katz and had this wide-ranging, long interview where they talked about the last couple of years. And he said, I really wasn't feeling well the last couple of years. And really, it took me until just recently to start to feel better. And now he's back in the hospital.
Well, that tells you why he didn't feel well, because he needed stints. Right. I just let that medical part. Stints are in the experience of people I know are wonderful things, and it's like a day surgery, and they can do it, and they usually do exactly what they're supposed to do, and do amazing things. So hopefully that happens. I would just like, he's got the number one player in the country. He's got the next number one player in the country very much on the hook, nibbling at the line a little bit. Like I get the sense that he still greatly enjoys this. I don't think he's greatly enjoyed the last 2 seasons as much because it just wasn't going to work with that group, and there was no solution for it. I think, we'll see what happens if this year Trent, then okay, we can have the conversation. But for me, like, it's just been an unfortunate couple of years. Like they got the players everyone wanted them to get, and they never just could fit together the right way. And so this year it's going to be a totally different approach. And the reality is, and I've said this to you, and I mean it with no offense, I think it's actually pretty cool. But KU fans are super, super, super spoiled. And like winning the Big 12 every year is just not a thing that's going to happen anymore. Like that's not those days are gone for any program across the country. It's too hard now. We'll see what happens with, the resettling of the transfer portal and everything. But it was just like those days are gone anyway. So you kind of have to approach it with like, okay, well, first and foremost, can my coach still get the best players? And Bill Self is still very, very, very good at that. And then when you get into it, like, what are they able to do with it? So I think that I hope he keeps coaching, because I think he's one of my favorite characters ever in the sport. And I just love him being there, but only if he wants to be, right? And I think there's still plenty of room for him to do it. How old was Coach K when he retired? 80? Right?
No, he was 75 or 76, I believe.
Yeah, Boeheim, quite a bit. Like some of these guys, older. I just don't want, like, when I say he's only 62, I just mean it in the sense that I think sometimes he gets looped into like Roy Williams, Boeheim, K, Izzo. He's not as old as those guys. Like he's still relatively young.
Speaking of those guys, I found an article. This goes all the way back to 2017. When he was 54, he did an interview with ESPN.com where he talked about how he wasn't interested in coaching as long as those guys had coached. And in fact, like all three of them, Boeheim, Williams, and Coach K, they were all still coaching at that time in 2017. And they were all obviously quite a bit older than him. In the case of Jim Boeheim, almost 20 years older than Bill Self. But he talked in this interview about how he really wanted to mainly just coach into his late 50s, and he wasn't sure if he could see himself doing this into his 60s. Now he's 62. Of course, that was in 2017. That was 8 years ago. So things can change. But what I find really interesting in this interview with ESPN.com is that he talks about, and this is his quote, "With recruiting the way that it is, it just wears you down." That was in 2017. Things have changed significantly since 2017 in the world of recruiting. And if it wore him down then, I can only imagine what it's doing today.
Don't you think it's about to get a little better, though? I mean, I think it could. I think it could get more into his wheelhouse, which is to keep players for a long time, which some of this reshuffling, and we can try to get into the executive order of yesterday. I don't have a real good grasp of that yet. So we may have to wait till next week and let some of the dust settle. A lot of distractions right now in Washington, taking attention away from whatever that is and how it's going to impact it. But I think if you ask me now, would I like to be retired at 62? I would say, well, yeah, that sounds great. But I would bet you when I get to 62, that'd last about a week or two. And I'd be like, now what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? I think that perspective changes for a lot of people as they get there. He is still good at what he does. I mean, he just won a national championship, 4 years ago? 5? Is it 4 or 5 years ago now?
2022.
Yeah, he just won a championship. They are still making the tournament every year, and he got the best player in the country to come to Kansas. So hopefully, first and foremost, hopefully he's good, right? Hopefully he's healthy now. And we'll just let him decide what he was going to do. I think. I mean, there won't be any outcome with any of this that ever surprises me. He could walk away tomorrow and it wouldn't surprise me. He could coach another 10 years and it wouldn't surprise me. I'm glad he's okay, because that is terrifying when you have to go deal with that stuff.
I know you don't. I don't think you subscribe to this theory at all. I do a little bit, and I think that after the events last night, there probably is a little bit more credibility to. There might have been an underlying reason why Jacques Vaughn was brought to Kansas.
I don't subscribe to that.
I mean, look, he's a former NBA head coach. He's a Kansas legend, and now he's on the bench with Bill Self. Now, did they telegraph him to be the future head coach of Kansas when they brought him on? I don't think so. I mean, that honestly wasn't anything that was ever, even talked about by Bill Self or Kansas as being the reason why. But it certainly could be a contingency, and I think that that's one thing to kind of keep your eye on.
Look, I just don't think it. I don't ever think it works. Whether they have him there in waiting or whatever. It almost never works. Give me an example of.
But is it the wrong thing at all to have him on the bench as a contingency? I mean, what happens if he has?
What do you mean by contingency?
Let's say he has to miss a few games, or he's not ready for the
this
start
year.
Of the season, or
in a pinch. I don't care.
I think there's a reason why they have him there, just in case something like that happens.
That's fine. I'm not worried about in a 2 or 3 game scenario this year. I'm talking about
because that guy was Norm Roberts for a long time.
So yeah,
he's gone now. He retired.
So that part, yes, in a pinch, yes, that's fine. I have no issue with it. I'm talking about big picture. I think that would be a mistake. But we don't need to talk about big picture. So yeah, in a pinch, I'm glad he's there. I'm glad he's there anyway. I think it's an intriguing idea, but you got to be able to coach in college a little bit before you're going to have, it just to make the cold transitions hard. We'll be right back.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH. Glad to be with you. If you want to win some HTO iced tea, you can do that right now by texting the keyword tea to the short code 20357. You can enter once per day. Message and data rates apply. It'll be good for East Wichita, West Wichita, or Derby. Again, that's T to 20357. Good luck, everybody. We come back in and we're talking. We'll just kind of stay on the college trend here as we get into the Bill Self news of last night and maybe Tommy try to dissect this executive order. But to your point on Jacques Vaughn, I'm very happy that Jacques Vaughn is on the KU staff. When what I don't want to do is if something were to happen and Bill Self were to step away anytime soon, I am not right now at all going to be advocating for Jacques Vaughn to be the next head coach of Kansas.
Why is that? I don't understand why there's such a negative opinion.
Because there's almost no track record of guys making that transition without the experience in college to being successful. That, like, to a program like Kansas, there's just, there's, Chris Mullen, Patrick Ewing, Juwan Howard lately, Avery Johnson's tried to do this. Like, it's two different worlds. So to never have spent any time coaching in college to be the next coach of Kansas, I think is crazy. I think it's crazy. It's just like it's like two different sports. Now, some assistants, and there are other guys who spend time on staffs both directions that can do it. But until you understand the landscape of college basketball and college athletics, like that's not a transition I'd be willing to take a risk on for the University of Kansas. If it was a struggling once great program like Georgetown or St. John, whatever, then okay, fine. But not Kansas. Kansas doesn't need to do that. So I'm glad he's there now. And maybe after a few years, we learn. And he's awesome at this. He understands it. He's good at the recruiting piece. He's doing everything well. Okay. It's just like you've got to spend some time in college basketball Rick says the current BYU coach, I guess, was an NBA assistant. There's lots of guys who've spent time in the NBA. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Jacques Vaughn's never spent any time in college yet as a coach. It's too early to make that kind of move. He's got to spend some time there, and hopefully he will. Hopefully he'll be with Bill Self for a little while, and he can do that.
There are situations though where you've got former players of a team coming back and being the head coach where there has been success. I mean, take a look at a guy like John Shire at Duke. You know, it was kind of the same situation,
but he was an assistant for Duke for a long time.
Well, I get that. I'm just saying, like, he came back and served under Coach K, and then ultimately took over, was a player at Duke, and now he's had a lot of success there. So that sort of thing can happen where you have a former player coming back, being an assistant, and then ultimately being named the coach and having success there. So like, at least that sort of path, that's not unprecedented. That happens all the time.
And Rick's right. I just looked. BYU's coach did not spend, I mean, very early in his career. There are examples, and there are other examples of it working. There's just a lot of examples of it not working, and I don't think it would be the path Kansas would need to take if you had to make the decision on July 25th of 2025. Jacques Vaughn could be incredible at this. I hope that he is. I hope that whoever and whenever it happens, it can be somebody as connected to the program as Jacques Vaughn is. I think that would be an amazing story. But it's not the right time for it right now.
By the way, he had success when he coached the Nets. I mean,
he was a good coach. That's not what I'm saying.
I know they let him go, and he didn't really get super deep in the playoffs. He had a couple playoff appearances with the Nets. And if you look at his overall win-loss record body of work in the NBA, you have to add in his time with the Magic. And the Magic, they were a horrible franchise back in those days. And that really does skew the overall win-loss record for Jacques Vaughn. But if you just take out the most recent stint and look at his time with the Nets, I mean, he had an over 500 winning percentage. He made the playoffs a couple of years. I think one thing that's really important that I think in today's landscape of college basketball, and this is going to continue, the more that college basketball and college sports in general, but especially basketball, moves into this professional realm, players getting paid, that sort of thing, I think having a guy that has experience in coaching
I agree with
NBA
that.
personalities with big salaries and managing all of that, that becomes a really important trait and asset to have on the college bench. And so I do think that there are some things that he's done as an NBA former player and former coach that could maybe serve him well being there at Kansas, whether he's there as an assistant for a couple of years.
Right. I'm very glad he's there as an assistant.
Eventually maybe takes over for Bill Self. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I'm not ready to say I think that but it needs to be much further down the road. There is a huge difference in being a 12-month a year, 365-day a year college coach and an NBA coach that generally is the coach during the NBA season. I mean, it's not like it's just more of a grind. I've said forever, like I can't believe why guys would rather be a college coach than a pro coach. There's no day off in college. Like you're either constantly recruiting or you're coaching. And recruiting has become even crazier than it ever has been. Like that's a totally different grind even than it used to be, because now you can't count on players sticking around at all. It's basically like taking an NBA coach and saying, okay, great year. Here's what's going to happen now. Every player in the league is a free agent every single year. Deal with that. That would be like, that's the kind of, it's just a whirlwind. Now that's a nice transition. And again, very glad Jacques Vaughn's there right now. And as an assistant, though, Then we go into this, what does change in the recruiting world? President Trump signs an executive order yesterday. There's a flurry of this stuff as, you know, there's just a lot of action for whatever reason. We don't need to get into happening right now in Washington. This is one of them. And there is, I believe, generally speaking, bipartisan support before this came out. We'll see if that sticks afterward to legislate the insanity of college athletics. This, from what I can tell, and the White House sent out a fact sheet on, and that's basically all we've been given. It does lay out a lot of the things you hear most people say: organization, better organization, not the Wild West. There were a couple of things in there on the NIL piece. It can't be pay for play, but it also goes out of the way of saying that doesn't pertain though to fair market value deals. I don't know how you enforce it, but that's the way it probably should be, right? If there is true endorsement or name, image, likeness value in it, then it's good. If there's not, then it becomes just paying players, which would now, with a salary cap, violate the rules that I'm actually okay with, right? Because there's a salary cap. You can't just spend more than your peers. Now you're kind of cheating again here. The one thing that I continue though, and it does go in the executive order to say we've got to get the lawsuits and everything out of this stuff. How though do you tell somebody that it's not fair market value when somebody in the market is telling them they want to pay them that? There are the more obvious examples of Cooper Flag being all over New Balance commercials. And then there are less obvious examples of a guy with a booster who happens to own a car dealership, maybe,
We
like
had we had Dylan Edwards from K-State do a couple of appearances with KFH last weekend. We're the home of Kansas State, and they were great. And a little bit inside baseball, the way that we figured out the fee for Dylan Edwards was K-State told us what he was going to be worth, and then it went from there. So there was never a discussion, and there was never anybody poking holes in it saying, is that fair market value? Is that something that is fair for that? It just was kind of an understood, like, fair market value is what somebody's willing to pay for it, and that's the number that they threw out, and that number was accepted. That, in my mind, that's fair market value. I'm not sure that it needs to be any more complicated than that.
What if Joe Schmo from Chuck's light bulb sales is a huge K-State fan and says, well, I want to pay him $500,000. I think that would help my company.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chuck, that's not the going rate for the light bulb industry.
Right.
Like, who says who?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's what the market dictates what the market does. And that's the way that it always has been. I don't know. Going back to the whole executive order, I read it. I read the fact sheet, and then I immediately saw dozens and dozens and dozens of people on social media. And I have no idea these people's credentials and certifications and experience and credibility and all of that. But so many people said that none of this will hold up in court, that it basically, it's not even worth the value of the paper that it was written on. And so when I read the fact sheet and then I saw all of these examples of literally none of this is going to hold up in court, I'm like, okay, like, it's not.
Well, listen,
because all of this is going to go through the courts. It's going to go. I mean, this is going to be so long and drawn out. I don't even get worked up over it until we know exactly when the dust settles what it's going to look like.
As someone who has to follow politics in my other hat, I can tell you that no matter what the current president does, there are going to be tons and tons of people on social media that will immediately say it's wrong and it won't hold. Like, it won't work. Like, it's just like, literally, it's so hard to sort through people's agendas and what's real and what's not real. But for me, if there is an executive order that outlines a path and direction for lawmakers to potentially follow, there is a way to make sure this doesn't end up in court. You change the law, and then court is on your side, right? So, like, the court's job is only to enforce the law, not to make the law. So if there is push and pressure from Washington to change the law or create some laws, then court's not going to be a problem, because that all court does is enforce the law. I don't know. Also, with all the noise happening there, I think there's been bipartisan support to organize this pretty universally because it's popular, right? And politicians will always try to do things that are popular. The problem now is, though, if the president takes a clear side, are the other sides, even if it's right, would they join him? Or if it's wrong, would his own party say, hey, that's wrong? That's where now it's like, okay, well, this is such a mess up there anyway. I don't know how much they'll work together, but it's popular and contingent. Like, you're the people you represent. Like, we kind of all want the same thing. We just want this to be better organized. So we'll see. I think it's interesting because everything that's in there is what coaches and administrators and everybody's been begging for. Now you've got to have the lawmaker support to get in there and actually change a law. And then you want to worry about court challenges. I just don't know how you write the law that says you can't, how do you dictate what the market value is? That's the part I think that is still a really great challenge. And I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know that part of it is without a work contract, which makes it much easier. I don't know how you can do it.
Put them under contract. We're going to end up with collective bargaining. We're going to end up with contracts. That's ultimately the way that long-term you solve this. It's going to take a lot to get there, though.
It is. I agree. But it's out there. That happened yesterday, too. All right. When we come back, we'll get into the Royals, some trades starting to happen in Major League Baseball. We'll check into Chiefs training camp. A lot to get to on a Friday. Don't go away. It's Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83-1001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here. Celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. You want to win a trip to see the Zach Brown Band? We'll get you started this hour with some information on how you can do it. Love and Fear, live at the Sphere in Las Vegas, is in December. It includes a 2-night stay at the Suite in the Venetian Resort, Las Vegas, the only hotel directly connected to the Sphere. Easy to enter. It's a national contest with a chance to win that trip. You can just download the Odyssey app, listen to KFH for at least an hour. You can learn more on the contest at odyssey.com/Zach. Thanks to Messina Touring Group for that one. Tommy, we have Hawaiian Shirt Wednesdays, and we have Friday Fit on Fridays. We're fashionistas here.
It's really a fashion program. If you didn't know that, no, we have our Friday Fit as we do every single week. Brought to you by our friends at 3570 Golf Company here in Wichita. They are a locally owned golf apparel company. All their designs embody this part of the country. One thing I love about 3570 Golf Co. is that if you go and follow them on social media, they're very active on Facebook, on Instagram, and they like to tell their story, which is outstanding. And it's very much a storytelling brand. Like I said, all their designs embody this part of the country. And so you can check out all of their great apparel designs. We're talking shirts, we're talking hoodies, golf head covers. I know you have a golf head cover of theirs. It's got the Wichita flag on it. You can check out everything they've got online, 35x70golfco.com. Use the promo code Tommy and get 10% off your order.
And you can represent it wherever it is that you're out playing golf, like Crestview Country Club.
Yeah,
another great sponsor of the program. I went out and I tried to beat the rain last night, Tommy. But we got one of my kids and I went. We got about 4 holes in after work. But you can begin to see that tree work now. Some of the trees that have been marked are going down. Some of them are still just marked, and you get a feel for how much the course is going to change. And I think for a lot of people, that's exciting. It'll change the way you play a lot of holes, which will make it feel like a new course. We'll see what the end result is. I mean, some of the trees were just badly damaged in the storm, and they got to come down. So we'll see what the end result is. But get out there, give Crestview a call. Ask them about their memberships. If you listen to this show, you know how much we love it. So get out there, give them a call, see about the different things that they can do for you in a membership package. We appreciate their support of the show, 35 by 70 support of the show. We got so many great people that help make this show possible, and we appreciate them all. And we hope you do too. All right, Tommy, we've got some baseball and some Chiefs to get to. There was a pretty major trade overnight. Josh Naylor, who's a former All-Star, traded to the Mariners. They were supposed to be in the mix for Eugenio Suarez, who used to play for them. I believe they're the ones who traded him to Arizona. But Naylor comes in. He's been a really good player for Arizona for a little while now. He's going to help Seattle. I think it's relevant in a few ways for the Royals. Seattle's one of the teams the Royals are going to be competing with in the wild card, and they probably just got quite a bit better. And B, it's sort of the first bigger domino, I think, which we know in baseball, this kind of happens. You get that first big one to fall, and then it kind of starts to snowball just a little bit on that. So it kind of sets the market. It lets us be the first one. And now here we go. We're full steam ahead. And one of the teams that the Royals are competing with just got better. Now we see what the rest of the league's going to do.
If there was ever any thought that Suarez could be dealt to the Royals, I think that was extinguished with the Josh Naylor trade last night. It was not going to happen anyway. But the fact that, I would imagine Seattle's probably got a similar payroll, similar structure to the Royals, and they spend
more than the Royals historically.
I would imagine. I mean, they're closer to the Royals than they probably are to like the Yankees or the Dodgers, right? Like I think they're probably in the same realm, generally speaking. And the fact that they were not going to spend, the overall money and the overall cost to acquire a guy like Suarez, and they instead go with Naylor, who's cheaper, tells me that Suarez is going to, it's going to garner a lot of attention. And we already knew that. But I mean, he's probably going to be a Yankee, I think, at the end of the day. But I do think that you're right, though. It does jumpstart the market. The fact that you had the first kind of major domino to fall a week before the deadline, we're probably going to see some other ones happen throughout the weekend and then obviously into next week. But I do think that, again, if the Royals, I think they recognize that they're chasing multiple teams and the Mariners are one of them. I don't disagree with you. Seattle got better with that trade. And so now do the Royals feel even more pressure that they've got to try to improve if they're going to continue to try to chase that team?
They got a lot better, probably. Seattle is as dangerous as any team in baseball because they can pitch like crazy. And they just need to, continue to add a little bit to the offense. And Josh Naylor's a lot of bit to the offense. It's a meaningful trade. I think Seattle, like if you look at the wild card standings right now, and we'll get into the, to the Royals here on the other side of this. But if you look at the wild card standings now, and you're looking at the teams that are in there that you're going to have to try to catch as you're 4.5 games back of the Red Sox if you're the Royals. Right now, the Red Sox are the ones after that trade, especially to me, that I would look at as the catchable team. The challenge here, if we're being realistic, the Yankees are probably adding. Seattle just added a significant piece. Toronto, Houston, and Detroit all have a lot of wins, so you can't really look at them yet. We don't know what Boston's going to do. Tampa's not going to go add anybody of significance. Texas might. I think you're looking at probably when this all settles in, when you're talking about the Royals competing for those wild card spots, it's going to be a race with Texas, Boston, Seattle, and New York. I think Tampa's always there. They could still be there. They probably will be. But as far as the teams that are going to that are really talented and likely going to try to get a little bit better, I think those are the teams. And so when, there's a Jarren Duran trade, do the Royals and Red Sox have any interest in trading with each other right now? Like they're competing against each other. That probably not. So, we get into all of this and I think it still does lend itself to what we've said now for at least the last couple weeks, that the most likely is probably the Royals just ride this thing out. Maybe they go try to add a bullpen piece. Lugo is this. You just have to separate Lugo out from everything that's happening because his situation is so unique. But one of those teams that's likely there in the end just got a lot better. The only path to this for the Royals, Tommy, is if they play really well down the stretch. And I don't know that they're going to go add somebody that's going to make the difference. The difference there is going to be if the players they currently have basically play the way offensively they've played in July for the rest of the season. Whether or not they add somebody or not, I just don't know what's realistically out there. If it's Duran and you're competing with the Red Sox, are they really going to make a trade? And if you're the Royals, do you really want to give them a starter like Seth Lugo if you know you've got to chase them down?
That's been the big reason why, even though there was a lot of smoke about Duran going to Kansas City, it never really made a whole lot of sense
Well, it
to me.
did at the time because they just traded Devers, and we all thought they'd be bad. They've gotten better since they traded
They
Devers.
have, and they're back in the mix, and so for that reason, it's always been a little bit strange to me. Now, could they use the help of a Seth Lugo? Absolutely, they could. And could the Royals use the help of a Duran? Absolutely, they could. But knowing where they're both positioned in the wild card race, it does make it a little. I'm a little bit skeptical about that actually happening. I do wonder, and I know there really. I don't think there's been much chatter about this at all. But if the Diamondbacks are in full sell mode, and it looks like they are, moving Naylor, moving Suarez, potentially all of that, is there anybody else on the Diamondbacks that the Royals could target? I mean, because if it's a full
Zach
fire
Gallen's
sale,
going to get traded. I don't know what his contract
they don't
is.
need pitching help. They don't need, I know that
Well, but if you're talking about controllable assets, I wouldn't think he's a name that I've seen. Is there a bat that would help them? I don't think so. Gallen's free agents. That would be a no for the Royals. But I just, I don't think so. I don't think they honestly, like, let's be, unless it's a highly controllable player, Tommy, I don't think they need, I just don't know that that's the right play. I think the right play is to let your players on this team go be the best they can be and see what happens. It's almost like, if you look at the wild card teams, especially with what Seattle just did, and knowing that the Yankees are probably, and every report says they're going to be ultra aggressive, with Toronto probably doing the same thing and playing really well lately. I think that the most, like, how much more likely is it that you're going to catch these wild card teams as maybe Detroit comes back down to earth and you catch them? Like, I think you just ride it out. And I think you just hope that what we're seeing in July is that law of averages. And some of these players were just unfortunately cold for 3 months collectively. And if they're not now, you can pitch with any team in baseball. So go see if it works out. I don't know what good it's going to do for them to go add a rental type player. If you can get controllable players, great, because I do think you got to look at next year too. But rental players to me just don't make any sense right now for the Royals. I don't think a rental bat is going to give them enough of a boost in their chances to make the playoffs to make it worth it.
How about a reunion with Ryan O'Hearn? Could they be in on him, bringing him back to Kansas City? Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean,
can he play left field? I don't even know.
I mean, he is kind of a platoon guy. He's only under contract for this year.
Yeah, I just don't. No, I would no. We'll get into the Royals. Let's dig into them and what they've got coming up this weekend when we return. It's Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83-1001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor. We are talking a little baseball with you here on Sports Daily as the trade deadline looms, as the Royals get ready for a series against the Guardians. You'll have coverage here all weekend long. Tonight at 7:00 it begins. Tommy, it's a critical series. I don't know. I asked this question, and I don't think I know how I would answer it, to be perfectly honest. Whether it's more likely they can catch the teams they're chasing in the wild card at about 5 games, or catch the Tigers at 9.5 games back. I think you just have to look at those particular teams and hedge your bet on who you think has more staying power. I know the Tigers were one of the best teams in baseball in the pre-All-Star break, but we still have an entire post-All-Star break to play. And I think if we're being honest, and I like the Tigers and I like all their young players, and I think they're really good, I'm not sure that I'm willing to, with conviction, say I think they're going to be as good the rest of the way as they were the first half of baseball. And if that's the case, maybe they are the team that we should refocus on. I don't know.
I don't think so. Even if the Tigers are not as good of a team down the stretch as they were to start the season, it would take an epic collapse, like of epic proportions, for the Tigers to completely fall apart and give up the lead in the American League Central.
I mean, they just had that, right? They lost 9 out of 10 games, and the Royals only won 5 out of those 10 games. But over the course of a week and a half, the Royals made up 5 games.
Right. But it would take what they have done as far as the ground they've already given up, and then continuing on a big epic collapse to get to. I mean, I think it's really, really, really unlikely. Has it happened before in Major League Baseball? Sure, it has. We've seen teams completely fall apart. But the one thing that the Tigers have, and I know you don't like it when I give him credit, but they've got AJ Hinch, and Hinch is a stabilizing factor. He always has been in the dugout. And
when all things fail, you can cheat.
I get it. I know you're not a Hinch guy, and for good reason. Like, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like he is a guy that can steady the ship, and I think prevent the Tigers from having this epic collapse.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Listen,
I like a nice job there. He's done a nice job with the Tigers.
He has. I like their roster too. I just don't know, of the teams, if it's going to be the Yankees. I guess we can just look at it this way. Right now, it's the Mariners, the Yankees, the Red Sox that own the spots. Okay, so you've also got Texas and Tampa and Cleveland very much in the mix, but currently the 3 spots are occupied by the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Mariners. And the Tigers have, they've got your 4 games back further. Hell, I guess you'd be 5 games back further. But do you think Detroit is better than those 3 teams? I'm not sure that I do. When we're getting into the roster and when we consider what the Yankees are probably going to add at the deadline, what Seattle just added, and the way I would concede Boston, I don't think is. I think Detroit's better than Boston, but I'm not sure I think Detroit's better than Seattle and New York.
Well, one other thing to keep in mind with Detroit is that it's not like the Royals are the only team chasing them in the American League Central. You've got the Guardians that are right above the Royals.
But you can take care of that.
Well, I mean, you can sweep them this weekend at Kauffman, but
right.
But keep in mind, like, let's say that like the Guardians and the Royals are right there, and they're both chasing the Tigers. Well, if the Tigers, let's say they drop out of the lead of the American League Central, they're still in the wild card race. Like, you would still have to jump them in the wild card race.
That's right.
So it doesn't eliminate any teams that you have to.
No. I'm just saying. All I'm trying to figure out. And the other thing that I probably should have said in the beginning, you get to play Detroit 6 times, right? So there's that. You have a little more control there, and I think they play most of these teams. But it'll be fun either way. Doesn't really matter. We only are talking about it because of the trade deadline, and like what should Kansas City be doing? I am pretty comfortable in the place of just sit tight and just go and just see what happens. If Salvador Perez is all the way back, which he appears to be, Vinny Pasquantino's been all the way back to himself for a while now. Bobby Witt Jr. has a little more juice in the tank. He still does so many things well that he's always great, but offensively, he has a little more left in the tank based on what we saw a year ago. Caglione's not going to be worse. He's probably going to be significantly better. He could at least be the same thing. I think the Royals should be better in the second half, even if they traded away Seth Lugo.
They already have been. They've already played a whole lot better.
I think that's a flash in the pan. I think we're going to see that, the rest of the way. I think that's your best shot. I don't know that adding anybody to it is going to make that much of a difference. Like, what player would even do that? They went and they got Frazier, who they think helps them fill a need. Okay. They have enough in the bullpen. It's not urgent. I mean, it'd be nice to have a bullpen arm. Again, a controllable player is a different story because we're talking about something that helps them next year. But as far as rental guy, I don't know. I just don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. It's too like the hill they have to climb is still too daunting to even imagine it. So just ride it out. Let your players go play.
Yeah, there was an article yesterday, I believe, and I'm forgetting. There are so many different insiders that are writing articles, but somebody prominently had an article that basically talked about how even though the Royals had been in on Brian Reynolds for a long time, that's not going to happen. Like that's off the table now, which is probably for the best. And he's locked in for a long time, obviously in his contract. He's expensive, all of that. That one doesn't make a whole lot of sense anymore. It might have 2 or 3 weeks ago. Doesn't make as much sense as it does today. So really, I think you're kind of narrowed down on who's out there and who you could actually go to get that would be an immediate help, number one, but then also be controllable, number two. I wonder, and I know we've talked about Lugo extensively. We talked about Chris Bubich potentially, maybe also being on the trade block if there are some good offers for him. One name that I think could be interesting, let's say they don't move either Lugo or Bubich. I think there could be a scenario where if they got a good return for a guy like Carlos Estevez, I think you could justify potentially moving him and getting value in return to help them right now and in the future. So, I mean, there are still quite a bit of options that are out there.
I wouldn't move Estevez. What's his contract? I think he's there next year too. I think you got to hang on there. I don't. The only player to trade away. I don't want to see him trade away anybody. The only player that you can really make any case for to me is Lugo. Estevez is. Let's just look here. He's on a 2 year, so he's making 11, 10 million a year. And you get a club option in 27. And he's only 32. I'm hanging on to Estevez. I think that's a pretty solid deal. I think he helps them too much. They have to think, whatever they do, they have to think about next year. Have to. Because they have too much there to compete again next year. The only thing of real major significance, I believe, that they won't have next year likely that they have right now is Lugo. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so, I just think they're going to be in too good a position to compromise anything that comes next year. Don't you? Like what?
Yeah, and look, like I would say, and there's an article that came out 2 hours ago from our buddy Jalen Thompson. And it's again kind of talking about all the different options that are on the table for the Royals in the next week. There's one area in this article that there are 0 words that are written about, and that is the Royals acquiring players and who those players could be. That's not in the article at all. It's about could they move Lugo? Could they move Bubich? Could they move Estevez? And then would they part with any of their top prospects? But nowhere in Jalen's most recent article does it talk about potential players on other teams that the Royals might want to go and acquire. That's not in there at all. So I would say for fans that are clamoring for the Royals to go and add and names that are on the list of all these top players around the league that could get traded, don't get your hopes up that the Royals are going to be acquiring any of them.
Yeah, I don't. Again, controllable relief pitching would be the only thing realistically. Okay, so you've got Lorenzen, you've got Adam Frazier, Mark Canha, Rich Hill, Taylor Clark, and you've got Luke Maile and Seth Lugo on the option. That's it. I mean, that's kind of all that's there as far as what you could lose. They're going to be in a great position next year. I don't think anything they do now you can allow to harm you next year. So, and even if Lugo's gone, obviously we remember they Noah Cameron has changed this all too, because in theory you'd have Cole Reagan's back and healthy. So now you kind of you got 4 starters anyway, and plus Daniel Lynch comes back. They got to be careful. They got to tread with caution. If Lugo can land them a player that helps them, great. I think what they would like to do is utilize Lugo in a trade that also solves their outfield problem. That's what I think they'd like to do. Like an old school, kind of like they did with Jonathan India. We have this asset that's valuable. Do you have an outfielder that we could envision helping us this year and next year? That's where the conversations would start for me. And then let's see if we can go strength for strength. We can help you. You can help us. We can look past this year because I don't think a rental player makes any sense at all for them. And then you go on from there. Or like we've said before, you take the first round pick, you let Lugo go, make him a qualifying offer, or you try to extend him, and you just see if you can catch a little magic this year. Nothing wrong with that either.
That's what I would do. And the longer that this has gone on and the closer we've gotten to the deadline, that's where I've been. That's kind of where I've landed. I know that there are a lot of prominent people out there, including one of our colleagues up in Kansas City. I listened to his show yesterday, talking about how the Royals have to trade Seth Lugo with the depth they've got in their pitching rotation and their pitching staff. I land in a different area. Like, why not see if this team can make it happen with the current people that you've got?
I don't agree with that take either.
And again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it was a different situation where the Royals knew they were going to lose Seth Lugo and get literally nothing in return for him,
right,
then maybe move him. But at least you're going to get a draft pick because they will make him a qualifying offer. And if he declines it and he walks away, at least you know you are getting something in return, some kind of compensation for Seth Lugo walking away. At that point, it's better than nothing. And I think it's worth the Royals rolling the dice to see what they've got for the remainder of this season.
The reason for me is to say that they have to trade Lugo is totally ignoring this season's chances of making the postseason. Like, they don't have to trade Seth Lugo because they still are in the mix to make the playoffs. Therefore, you don't have to trade anybody. You're trying to make the playoffs. That matters. That's important. They're not 12 games back. Like, they're very much in the mix of this thing. And so, no, you don't have to trade him. Imagine if they were 4 games up in the wild card. Would anybody be saying they have to trade Seth Lugo? Of course not. Like, we've seen this wild card in the course of it change over the course of a week, good or bad, for about 9 different teams this year. Like, there is that very important thing that still exists, and that is this season and trying to make the playoffs, which is, again, something that is very possible for Kansas City.
It goes back to that question. And really, I know that there are teams that they have to leapfrog, and some of it is out of the Royals' control because they are chasing and they need other teams to stumble a little bit. But it comes back down to the absolute foundation of the question. Do the Royals, does their front office, JJ Piccolo, does he believe that this team is a playoff team this season? Does he believe that the current makeup of this roster can play in the playoffs? And if the answer is yes, if he believes that, then I think you stick with what you have and you ride that wave.
How could you not believe that either, by the way? Like, what would be the reason? Of course he believes that. But, like, what if you're a critic? Like, what is making you think? Do you think? Because I don't think I certainly don't subscribe to it. I don't think you do. Like, what is the reason you think people don't think they're capable?
I mean, probably reverting back to the weak offense that we saw as recently as a month ago or 3 weeks ago. It's been better in July, but I think that's probably one of the fears. I think it goes back to, even when they were winning games earlier this season, the criticism that I know people, including yourself, had, that they were winning games despite the offense being bad and the pitching would eventually come back down to earth, which it has to a point. It's not as elite as it was in May or even in June for that matter. So I think I think it's kind of a little bit of a PTSD thing. Like, hey, this team is, they're winning right now, but it very easily could revert back to the way that it was before.
And it totally could. But also, like, they're better than they were performing.
You're right. But I'm playing devil's advocate here. I think there could be an argument that it wasn't that long ago that we saw just an incredibly anemic offense.
Yeah, it's
go back to that.
They're obviously capable of being a terrible offense, the worst in baseball. They're capable of it. But I just mean, like, to sit here and say they have no chance at the postseason, to me, seems like the biggest stretch. Even if you're a pessimist, you can see the path for them. Well, their players play what they play like they normally play, and they have some of the best pitching in baseball. That's not outrageous. Like that. Now, whether that's going to be enough is debatable, and that kind of depends on what everybody else does.
Yeah, exactly. The challenge is you don't control your own destiny. That becomes the challenge. You have to rely on other teams losing as well. And they do get some head-to-head matchups in the division, at least the Tigers and the Guardians this weekend, and obviously that all happens. But the teams that they're chasing in the wild card, you don't control your own destiny. That does make it more of a challenge.
It does, and that's why I bring up that's what takes me to the Tigers thing, right? There's so many of these other teams. Most of them are probably acquiring talent at the deadline. I don't think the Tigers are going to do that. I think the Tigers will probably sit still. And you play them 6 times, and they are coming back down to earth just a little bit. So does that path become more navigatable? Is that a word? Than trying to jump so many teams in the wild card. I think that's become at least interesting, which is great news for the Royals. I mean, it's great news that they've lost 9 of 10 for the Royals, because there was a time not that long ago where it was like they have no chance to catch them. And now all of a sudden, whatever. Doesn't matter. All of it being said, the Royals don't do any of it unless they win a whole bunch of baseball games down the stretch. That gets back underway tonight against the Guardians. They just took 2 of 3 from one of baseball's best on the road. Why not the Guardians, right? Like, is that outrageous to think they could come out and have a big series against Cleveland? No, it's not. The Cleveland just lost a game to Baltimore. So, yes, the Royals can have a big series. It'd be great if they could do something really special, like, sweep them. But Cleveland's good, and Cleveland's been playing better too. Not just
they have to at least win Saturday's game, because you've got a post-game concert from Flo Rida on Saturday night.
Oh man.
Well, how can you not win leading into a Flo Rida post-game concert? They absolutely have to win that game.
Waka, Bubich, Cameron, here we go. Cleveland can always pitch. Challenges on you at home offense where you haven't been as good. We'll come back. We'll talk a little Chiefs training camp when we return on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
83-1001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH. We are talking a lot of baseball as we come up to the trade deadline. This will be a big weekend for a whole bunch of teams, including the Royals, and in where they stand as decisions need to be made. Training camp is also underway. Training camp's underway. Practices are underway in college football as we kind of get a first taste of KU, and we'll get to them after the Chiefs here in just a second. But Tommy, we not a lot now. We're kind of to this portion of training camp where nobody's wearing pads, and it's really just like the conditioning portion. So, yesterday, the things that that I took away a little bit were, Andy Reid is liking what he's seeing out of the two tackles, but honestly, he even admitted, he's like, but they're not in pads, so it's kind of hard. One thing that did jump out a little bit to me, he was asked about Jalen Royals, the rookie, and he went out of his way to talk about him being smart, which is a good sign, right? Like that's what the challenge is going to be. And if Rashee Rice misses time, I don't know that anybody expect Jalen Royals to be early on in this season a huge factor. But if he's smart and if he's able to pick things up quickly, which is always the challenge for rookie receivers for Andy Reid, that would be good news. So that kind of stood out yesterday. It might be a bit of a stretch, but I did notice that he took that time to say it.
There's always a learning curve with rookie wide receivers in the Andy Reid system. The playbook is always complicated. There's always a lot that they've got to figure out and memorize and get that comfortability and all of that. That's the first step. And then you've got to build the relationship with Patrick Mahomes. We've seen it. It's happened multiple times over the last couple of years where Rashee Rice coming in as a rookie took him a little while. By the end of the season, he was there. Xavier Worthy, same thing a season ago. It took him a while. And then ultimately by, late in the season, he was there. If Jalen Royals can even speed that process up by a couple of weeks, we may see him, have more of an impact early on than maybe those other guys did. Now, is he as talented as Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy? Probably not. I mean, I think Royals is a nice piece. I think he's a good receiver, but he's probably not. We're probably not looking at him being, a top tier wide receiver by any means. But if he can be more impactful because he's learned the playbook quicker and he's built that trust and he's a smart player, if he can have more of an impact in his rookie year, I think that's a win for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's for sure a win for the Chiefs. It's just unlikely, but we'll watch it. I mean, being smart is the thing that is the challenge. Another one that jumped out, Kareem Hunt, talking about how svelte, as he put it, Travis Kelce looks young. You can see the burst. I think we all expect this. What are the chances, do you think, that Kelce becomes what he was 2-3 years ago versus last year? I think they're actually pretty good because I think they're going to ask him to do things a little different. I know he's prepared himself physically to do it, which is why I think there's a pretty good chance. But I also think there will be some design in the Chiefs offense to do that too. I just don't think Kelce will be doing the exact same things he's been doing. I think they envision him more as a pass catcher this year.
They have to have him be a volume pass catcher like he was earlier in his career. And even when he wasn't quite doing that as much a season ago or even 2 years ago, it wasn't like he wasn't catching the ball. I mean, he just didn't get it quite at the same volume. He wasn't involved in that regard quite as much as we were used to. I mean, his stat lines were still pretty good, but they weren't like epic like we had been used to seeing for so long from Travis Kelce. I do think that there is going to be an intentional push to get him back to that this coming season. And I think it was a combination of the Chiefs going in different directions offensively and trying to reestablish and redefine what the offense looked like over the last couple of years. That was part of it. But then it was also partially he was a little bit banged up at times and he was getting a little bit older. And, I'm not saying that he wasn't in good shape, but maybe not quite as in good a shape as he had been at one time in his career. The fact that that's been a deliberate and intentional change this offseason for him to work his way back to being kind of that guy, I do think you're going to see schematically things move more towards that direction going into this year.
I do too. And I think that's especially a good thing if Rashee Rice misses time in the beginning of the season, something we're still waiting to see. But those were a couple of things that stood out to me yesterday from camp. We got to get him in pads to get some real looks, honestly, at the tackles, which is what we're all watching, and Royals too, a little bit. All right, let's talk KU football, Tommy. It was kind of the first chance for anybody to get in there and talk to them yesterday and see them. KU football is... I just don't know how to set an expectation for them this year. It's the strangest dynamic. We're all deeply concerned with all the talent that they lost, rightfully so, I think, but they weren't very good last year. So how concerned should we be? Right? Like, it's this weird dynamic. Most of the time when you come off of a disappointing season, which felt like it was massively, massively underachieved, you're not like, oh God, we lost all these, but it's Devin Neal and it's all, it's all of these really Luke Grimm critical pieces that they've had for so long as a part of this rebuild that it is concerning. It's a strange dynamic.
On the defensive side too, you don't have Kobe Bryant, you don't have Mello Dotson. Like,
the dudes that have rebuilt this thing.
I think that one benefit that Lance Leipold is going to have is that the expectations, I think, while they are appropriate and while they should be a good team, they're not through the roof. Like, remember going into last season, it was This is a team that could win the Big 12. This is a team that could potentially compete to be in the CFP, like all of that. And then, of course, they fell far from that. They did not even come close to that. Those are not the expectations going into this year. I think that is a little bit of a benefit. But on top of that, I mean, I think that this is a team that you still have Jalen Daniels, you still have Daniel Highshaw. You've got a really good transfer class coming in. They could be a sneaky team in the Big 12. Are they going to win? Are they going to win the conference? I mean, I think there's too much at the top for them to get past 4 or 5 different teams that are competing to be the Big 12 champion. But could they be right beneath them? Sure. I mean, I think they absolutely are a team that we should be looking at to go to a bowl game. I think we should absolutely be looking at them to potentially finish in maybe the top 4 or 5 in the Big 12. And anything beyond that is a bonus and an improvement from a season ago for sure.
I think that it's something like if you look at their projected depth charts, it's possibly going to be like 22 new players are either at the front or right behind or backing up starting positions for Kansas on both sides of the ball. It's a lot. It is a lot. Some of those players are probably going to be upgrades. That's something to think about. Some of them will be downgrades for sure. But at the end of the day, Lance Leipold is very good at what he does. Jalen Daniels, when he's right, is very good at what he does. And I think, like, for the most optimistic of fans, you can just start there, right? Jalen Daniels was once a preseason player of the year in this conference. He just can't stay healthy. And
don't you think, though, like with Jalen Daniels, I mean, he's got, and again, this is going to be prefaced on him staying healthy. Obviously, that's a huge question mark, and it always has been. But don't you think he can just go out there and just ball out, like play free and clear, and not have these crazy expectations? Preseason player of the year. This is a team that should make the college football playoff, win the conference, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, I think a lot of people forget that he's still on the team, right? And so you can sort of just go out there and play loose. You should go out there and play loose and free and easy and just go like ball out. It's your last year in college. The expectations are not as big as they have been in years past because you're replacing a lot of players around the team and on both sides of the ball. Just go out there and just let it all hang loose. Who cares?
Right. And I think that'll be good. And I think if we get a full season, which is a big ask of Jalen Daniels historically to count on a full season. But if you get let's call it most of a season of Jalen Daniels playing like he did toward the end of last year with Leipold's ability to just figure out how to win games that he showed you at Kansas, I think that's your optimistic take. There is no way for us to know all of these players coming in to replace the players going out, what the net gain or loss is on that until we see them play. So when we talk about expectations, it's like, how do you even set them? I think you just start with Daniels and Leipold. I think that's the only thing you can do. I mean, Highshaw is going to be, I've always liked Highshaw. I'm curious to see how he thrives in a large role. I'll bet he shares carries at least to somebody. I mean, some people think LaShawn Williams is going to be the starter. I think Highshaw is going to be the starter. I've heard that chatter. It sure sounds like Lance Leipold yesterday intends for Daniel Highshaw to be the starter. He couldn't stop talking about how excited about the opportunity for Highshaw that he is to watch him play. So I don't buy that he's going to be, as part of like a 50-50 split or worse. I think he'll be the guy, at least early on. And I'm excited for that. But it's going to come down to Jalen Daniels. I mean,
they should have a really solid offensive line to protect Jalen Daniels. Bryce Foster, I know, is working his way back from injury, but I mean, he's been fantastic, and he should be one of the best offensive linemen in the entire conference. There are still some returners that are out there, a couple guys defensively that can help them out for sure. There's production coming back on both sides of the ball, even though you had some premier guys leave.
But and that's what, to my original point. Yes, there's production coming back. They weren't very good last year, so I don't want to over worry about all the losses and they weren't very good. Maybe it's not a bad thing that they've got a little bit of a reset, a clean start this year. in a lot of places. So they're beginning practice. They're beginning their work. We saw K-State. We checked in on K-State early in the week. It should be an interesting. I don't think the expectations sure don't feel as high collectively as they did a year ago, and K-State's probably in a better position to do what we thought they might do last year, this year. So hopefully, one or both of them does that this year, and we get one of them in a college football playoff. I think I'm comfortable with saying K-State's my favorite to win the league. I think they can do it.
I'm still rolling with Texas Tech. They're my team that I think will win the Big 12. I love Joey McGuire. I think Joey McGuire.
So many new players and no Taj Brooks. I like what they've done. I do. I think it's a very cool story for college football. But I think I'm gonna stick with the experience of K-State. We'll see. Iowa State, K-State, Iowa State. I mean, are you kidding me? That how massive is that? Is that is there a bigger early season contest August 23rd than that game in Ireland?
We look at like plane tickets. You and I should fly out there, go over to Dublin.
Let's get Tony
cover
on
that
the line.
game.
We'll do the show live from Dublin. I could do that. I could get on board with that. All right, we're coming back. Don't go away. More Sports Daily.